From a few dollars an hour plus tips as a hotel valet to now owning and operating a nearly 24 fleet of vehicles with corporate accounts, this is a story of a young man from South Austin who saw much bigger opportunity around him and took the huge financial risk to make it happen. This is Joe Garcia, and you're watching Driven. All right, Joe Garcia, we have 20 employees, 20 vehicles, real estate investments, properties that you buy and sell, cars, boats, motorcycles, and it just keeps on going and going. Now, my question is, how did this all start? Who were you growing up?
Well, I come from humble backgrounds.
Okay.
You know, I come from a family of 5 where we grew up in a small house,
Okay.
a 2-bedroom house, pretty much shared a bed with my sisters.
Everybody
you know,
just together.
Yeah, everybody in one room. And then just grew up knowing that, you know, I wanted better something for my life, for my future kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I began there, you know.
Here in Austin as well, yeah.
Yeah, born and raised here in Austin, of course. Graduated from Bowie.
Bowie High School,
Bowie
Bulldogs,
High School,
Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's right. And just took it from there, really. So what I really wanted to be growing up was a football player.
Really?
I played football at Bowie. That was my passion.
Okay.
You know, I was in love with the game, the sport.
Was it the competition aspect, or was it the physical aspect of pushing your body to the limit, or really just competing against somebody else to win?
It was more the love for the game.
I see.
You know, and of course the competition comes with it.
True.
And, you know, we're all here competing to win, you know. Yeah. So I come from a winning background. You know, my father never showed me how to quit. You know, he worked 2 jobs for 30 years. Yeah, growing up, you know, I saw him only getting 4 hours of sleep every day.
My God. So you basically grew up with a workhorse, realistically.
Yeah, and realistically saying to myself, man, I do not want to do that.
I see.
So, you know, that's why I'm here where I am at now. But, you know, getting to that point, it took a while.
So what did you do, like work-wise? You get out of high school, played football.
So I got out of high school. I joined the military. I got injured.
Really?
Yeah, I joined the Marines.
Okay.
And I got injured in basic training, so I got a discharge, an honorable discharge, medical reason. So I came from there, started working at there's a computer place called Unisys, which they're no longer
I remember
around.
years ago.
Yeah.
Probably early 2000s, late 90s?
It was 2000. As a matter of fact, it was 2000 because it was right before
Y2K.
9/11.
Oh, and you know what's funny
and
is
I remember 9/11 being there that day, going to work, and you know all that stuff was going on.
Yeah. I was at Dell, by the way.
Were you?
99 through 2001, I was at Dell, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, before I went to the military, I was at Dell, working in the shipping and receiving department.
Yeah. What building, by the way? Let's see, Dell OG.
Shoot, I don't remember.
There was PN1, PN2, late 99, early 2000, yeah.
So then, that was
I'm
after
sure,
me.
I
I
was in Michaela also, yeah.
You were?
Probably late 99, early 2000, yeah.
So then, that was
I'm
after
sure,
me. I was already at Unisys at that point.
Okay.
But started working there, worked there for a couple years. Then, you know, I got tired of answering the phone and dispatching, so I decided to pursue a career into car sales.
Really?
So I started selling cars.
Local dealership, I'm assuming?
South Point Pontiac, which is no longer around either.
They're gone, yeah.
I think it's now Howdy Honda or Hyundai. That's who it is.
That's right.
That's who took over the spot. So I did that for a few years. Then after that, I started working at the mall at Macy's in the lady shoe department. You know, that was kind of going from car sales to shoe sales was a big difference, but I was a good seller. I've always, you know.
And Macy's was probably newer at the time, because I think
it was
Foley's went to Macy's.
And then it went to Macy's.
Oh, okay, so you got in when it's new to the city.
Yeah.
I see. So the hype was going. The hype was going to be brand new.
And, and also you had higher quality brands.
I see.
Versus Foley's.
Yeah.
So I worked there for a few hours, and then I ended up losing my job for some reason. And after that, I started doing valet.
Hotel, I'm assuming?
At the Hilton Garden Inn,
Okay.
which is right here downtown Austin.
Yeah.
So I started doing valet there. Yeah. And
How much time do you spend doing that?
valet?
Yeah.
I was there for maybe 2 years
Okay.
doing valet.
And what was the pay? Was it an hourly or a?
It was hourly plus tips, but
Ooh,
the hourly
okay.
was nothing. It was like $3 an hour.
So like a waiter, basically.
Yeah, so we really counted on our tips to bring in money because the
I see.
hourly wasn't bringing in anything.
Okay.
And at that point, I was 27.
Okay.
You know, I was like, man, I'm not going to valet for the rest of my life. So I decided to while I was doing valet, I went to ACC to try to get my degree in business management.
Okay.
So I was doing that. But while I was in valet.
But there was no college prior to this, right?
No.
No real,
college.
no ACC, nothing
Yes,
prior to.
some college.
Okay, some.
But no associate degree, no
Okay.
bachelor degree.
Nothing got completed, we'll say.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. And there's a reason behind that too.
Yeah. Life happens.
Well, business happens.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because when I was at valet and going to the college, that's when I first started the business,
Okay.
which was my chartered business.
So how did that happen? Because that itself is interesting. So you're
Yes.
valeting, working for the Hilton Garden,
Yes.
Hilton basically, and you started a business because you have a shuttle service now, private vehicle, black car, I think they call it,
Yeah.
party bus, limos.
So
Where's the conflict of interest though? Because I'm sure
right,
it was
right. So before I started working at the hotel, I knew nothing about transportation.
Okay.
You know, nothing about the black car service or anything like that. But while I was working there, I would see limo drivers pull up. So I would talk to them, inquire about getting a possible part-time job.
Okay.
Well, fortunately, so it was a blessing in disguise because
see.
my coworker, his name is Frank Ellison.
Mm-hmm.
He was working there part-time at the Hilton Garden Inn with
Okay.
me. Well, he owned a van, and he was doing a little shuttle service
Like on the side.
on the side of his
I see.
full-time job there at the Hilton Garden Inn, or his
Okay.
part-time job. So, inquiring minds want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, what he was doing, and I asked him if he needed help or a partner.
Yeah.
And that's how it all came about. So
I see.
by wanting to work extra, part-time, and just asking, that's what led me to the opportunity. He actually led me to the opportunity.
Was he let me ask you this though. Was he making enough money at the time, though, of course, to where it became more appealing to you because of the money he was making? Or was it just kind of like he's trying to figure it out also?
Well, no, at that point, I was drowning in school debt.
I see,
And
okay.
student loans. I think I had like $2,000 in my bank account that were
Okay.
student loans. So it was more of like just getting
Something.
earning extra income,
I see.
basically.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it as
A
a business
business.
opportunity until I actually got into it with him. And I don't mean like an argument,
Not
but
butt
like,
heads, yeah.
but actually get into the business, not with him, but for myself.
Learned the game.
But learned it from him. He took me under his wing, and then that's where it all began.
I
And
see.
also, so the valet company that I worked for, they owned several properties, or didn't own, but they had the contract to several hotels in the downtown area.
I see. Okay.
Now, mind you, I worked with a lot of those valet guys. And sometimes we would get put at different hotels. Whenever
Okay.
they opened up a new hotel, they would send us to that hotel or
For a
vice
month or
versa.
two or whatever amount of time. Yeah.
So you got to meet a lot of people.
Okay.
So while I started the business, let me go back a sec. So when I asked Frank, hey Frank, do you need a partner or a part-time driver?
Yeah.
I need part-time income to help with my student loans. And he didn't want to hire no people because he
Solopreneur. we'll call
so
it.
before he worked there at the Valet, he used to manage like Shortstop, a few
Oh, I
other
see.
restaurants, and so he managed employees. So he didn't want the headache of managing employees, so
I see.
he didn't want to hire me as an employee or a partner.
Mm-hmm.
But he encouraged me to start my own van service,
Okay.
which is
Was
why I'm here now.
the blessing in disguise where he kind of
Yes.
curved, I don't say curved you, but kind of gave you a little friction and it caused you to go do your own thing.
It did. He kind of
Okay.
gave me a push, you know, because I would have never thought of it myself.
Okay.
You know, that wasn't even in my mind. I mean, so after being wanting to be a football player, I wanted to be a rapper.
Okay.
You know, like everyone in Austin wanted to be at
South
some point,
Austin, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, you know, I was trying to pursue that dream or career, but, you know, that didn't go.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, yeah.
It didn't go through. So, which leads me to the Valet, going back to the Valet. So, you know, at
Still
that point, yeah,
2007
I'm
-ish?
27.
Okay.
You know, I'm getting close to being 30. So I'm like, okay, I need to do something for real, like career-wise.
Any kids at this point or no?
No kids.
Okay.
So that's why I needed to find career before
yeah.
I had any. So once he pushed me to go get a van, well, he didn't push me, but he told me get a van.
Yeah, he encouraged.
He encouraged me. Luckily, I had just paid off my Mustang.
Okay.
I just paid it off. So my credit was decent, and I had $2,000 in the bank from the school loan. I was supposed to be using it for school, right? So I go get the van. You know, luckily, I only had to put $500 down.
Okay.
And the
And
other
I'm assuming
part,
an Econoline type of passenger.
it was a Chevy Express van. It was a 15-passenger Chevy Express van.
Okay.
It was silver, 2007. It was the
Oh,
year.
brand new then.
It was slightly used. It had like 15,000 miles on it.
Okay, but fairly new.
But
still.
fairly
Yeah.
new, yeah. So ended up getting the van, you know, scared as hell because I didn't know if this was going to work or not, you know, but I had to use the 2,000 for the insurance. That's why I was.
Oh, I see.
So I told myself, well, you know, I'm going to give it a try. If it doesn't work out, you know, worse off, I'll just sell the van.
Yeah,
right?
And this is right when the economy was collapsing to begin with.
Yeah,
This is 07, 08-ish.
it was, but
09.
you know, Austin kind of held its ground during that
I see.
time. You know,
Well, at least it didn't affect your industry that much, we'll say, or?
it didn't because so in 2001 when 9/11 happened, that really hurt the hotel industry and the airline industry.
Because of the flying, everyone was scared.
Yeah, everyone was scared to fly.
Okay.
So I came after that. So
Yeah,
it was kind of like going back up
I see.
versus, you know, down. So I got the van, and what helped me was not only Frank, but also knowing the valets at the other hotels,
I see, okay.
who I explained to them what I was doing.
Okay. Still a part-time employee
Still a part-time
with the hotel.
valet.
Okay.
So, and then here's the other idea. So when we were valeting, we would get groups of people who were there for a conference.
Okay.
And it was so hard to get like several cabs. You're lucky to get one cab in Austin. So,
because people might want to go to different locations, but they're in one cab.
well, it was a group of 10 people plus, and they
see.
wanted to go to the same restaurant. So in order to get that many people, you would have to order like 2 or 3 cabs in order to get them to their location. So what we did, you know, because sometimes we didn't have a lot of cars to park, so what we do is we offered the client a ride in their vehicle, and then we'll just come back and park the vehicle.
I see. So technically, you still had their keys.
So
They
had their car parked, but they didn't want to go pay for parking at the restaurant.
I see. Okay.
So we used their vehicle with their permission, of course. If it was okay, we could take them to their destination, and then we'll bring their car back.
But was this standard
park it.
procedure with the hotel, or not really?
It wasn't standard procedure, so that's why we stopped doing it. Because we did mention it to our manager, who said we couldn't do it any longer because, you know, liability issues.
of course.
Which I understand. If something happens outside of the hotel,
And now you
while
understand it
you're
more
driving
because you're
so-
in the business.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I saw a need,
Okay.
not just for taxi service, but service that catered to groups only.
Okay.
So that's what led me to get the van, and you know, that group of 10 people needing a ride down the road to the restaurant, they can fit in one vehicle versus 3 or 4 cabs.
Yeah. So how would they pay that? Would it be per head or per load? Or?
It would be per head, per person.
okay,
It
I
would be per person, and depending on the length of the trip,
I see.
is what determined the rate.
So I'm sure there were industry standards that you kind of go by, and More or
Yes,
less.
And so Frank helped me with some of that. You know,
Okay.
he showed me how to do the price tiering, and also, you know, just calling around with other companies and
Yeah, yeah.
see what they're charging.
Okay.
You know, because there's different types of services. There could be a one-way transfer, or there could be an hourly service where you have to stay with the client, you know, transfer them to all their destinations.
Like a bar crawl or a wedding event or
corporate,
bachelorette party.
corporate or you know, leisure.
Okay.
I cater to both.
Okay.
And so just starting from there with one vehicle, you know, worked long hours, probably like 14 hours a day. Sometimes
Between technically 2 part-times.
between 2 jobs,
Yeah.
and also sometimes I would sleep in the van.
Really?
Because I got finished late and had to be up early the next morning to take some people to the
Just
airport.
screw it.
So I would park in the hotel, in the garage, and sleep there in the van.
The one you worked at too.
The one I worked at, yeah, because
wow.
I had access to the garage.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Safe.
And they let us park our vehicles in there. So I would just stay in my van for the night, get up early, and then take the client to the airport.
Wow. Okay, so because this is kind of interesting. So at what point were you now balancing the two to where you say, well, my job that actually gives me, you know, the bread and butter and the little entrepreneurship side hustle.
That's right.
When did it start hitting
So
your head where
it started clashing when I started getting a lot of phone calls while I was at work, and my manager noticed that and pulled me to the side. He said, "Hey, Joe, come here." He said, "Hey, I don't mind you starting your own business, you know, while you're here at work, but, you know, it looks like you're starting to get busy." I thought he was going to tell me, "I don't want you taking any phone calls while you're at work, you know, or you're going to get fired," or something
technically
like that.
you're on the clock and you're literally, I would guess, outside.
But I was still helping the clients park their vehicles, but I was, you know, it was just becoming more noticeable. I was getting more phone calls from other hotels, and so he pushed me out of there.
But
in a good way.
Okay, that's
so he saw me getting busy. He's like, "You know what, Joe, man, why don't you just do that full time and quit here?" And I said, I remember him saying, I said,
what year was this, by the way?
This was, so when I started valeting, it was 2006.
Okay.
2005, 2006. When I got my van, it was 2007.
Okay.
Okay, and my manager's name was Jeff. I remember it. And
so talk to him or not really?
So I asked him, I said, "Would you be okay with that?" When he told me that, I was like, "Really? I thought you would be angry and like want me to stop doing the business while I'm here at work." He's like, "No, I want you to do your business. You know, I don't want this job to be to hold you back."
Okay.
And that's what led me to quit the valet job position and pursue the business full time.
And let me ask you, so this guy, did he have like an entrepreneurial type of mindset where he understood, like he had something going on the side too? Or was he just like, "This is my job, but I believe in you and I want to push you to do better for yourself"?
I think it was more of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because he didn't have a business, but he was in the manager position.
I see.
But I'm sure he wanted probably to do something in life before he got that position. Sometimes when you get stuck in a high position like that,
you're comfortable with it.
You kind of get comfortable or stuck.
Yeah.
One of the two, you know, because you don't want to let that money go.
True.
Right. And like I said, it was frightening when I first started because I had nothing in the bank account. That $2,000 I had that was supposed to be for my school, I used it for the van and the insurance. So I was pretty much, you know, back against the wall. Either it's going to happen or it's not.
But you got a better business education with student loan money rather than actually going to the classes.
Well, while I was going,
so
I started the business while I was at ACC. I was doing business management, but I kept getting phone calls during school.
Hold on, so you got the part-time job, you got school, and then the driving.
Well, I had quit the valet at that.
Okay, so now it's gone.
Time,
okay,
but
okay,
I was doing the business and going to school.
Okay.
But the business started calling me more and more and more and more, and
just real quick, how were you marketing at this point? Because
just right at that
there
point,
were no Facebook ads, there was no Instagram ads.
Nope.
So how exactly were you? This is 08, 09ish, on that time in the beginning at least. So how were you marketing?
It was all through word of mouth
Oh, okay.
and networking with the people
The other
that were in the
valets
same industry,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
concierge, the hotels, sales department, the valets, people who were actually needing the service.
Yes.
You
Okay.
know, and there's nothing that a hotel likes more, but when you cater to their guests and they come back happy.
Yeah.
When they refer
And
your
you're
service,
fast also.
oh man, he's great. You know, so
I
so
see,
it's
okay.
good for the hotel. It's good for me. Scratched each other's back. So it was basically networking. I did build a website, but you know, it was still like those.
Wasn't official.
Yeah, it
We'll
wasn't
call
a
it.
real big official
Landing
website.
page, one page website.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was more like a landing page, but you know,
And was it J&G Citywide Express from the beginning, or what was the original company name?
no. So that was the original company name, which I came up with in the parking lot
J&G.
of the tax office.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know what to name it, so I just used my initials and my brother's initials, and
Okay.
instead of making it JG's because my name is Joe Garcia, you know, I put the "and" in there in case you know something was to ever happen, I could leave it behind for my brother.
Joe and is it Gerald?
Gerald.
Gerald,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Gerald. So it's J&G Citywide Express.
Oh, that's cool.
And basically came up with the name in 5 minutes right there in the parking
Looking
lot.
up-
Just wrote, yeah. Didn't even look it up or anything to see if it was available, and just went in and filed it. And luckily, it was available. So
How much later did you go to try to file it though? See, I love these kind of stories because it's real. It's really authentically how it happened.
yes.
So when you put it on paper, when did you actually go to see if it's even available?
Well, I finally became incorporated in 2008.
Okay.
So I actually did the
So not
the
too
state
long,
filing.
yeah, it's not
so
too-
I went
yeah.
a year just doing it as a sole proprietor,
Yeah.
DBA. You know, but then I went and got incorporated because I believe at that time I came across an opportunity with an airline, which is American Airlines, who I actually got in touch with through the hotel that I was one of the hotels I was networking with.
Okay.
And they were looking for a service to cater to their crew members, take them to the airport, pick them up from the airport, take them to the hotel.
But this
vice
wasn't their
versa.
flight, not their customers, just crew.
It was, well, it was the hotel's customer because they're staying there.
Oh, okay.
They
But it
just-
wasn't the
but they didn't
airline's
have a-
flyers yet.
No, they didn't
Okay.
have a shuttle service, so they reached out to me to see if I was interested in catering to them for them.
I see.
And so that's how it began. And then before you know
Okay, there's
it,
money here.
yeah, well, you know, starting out, you know, working by yourself and then landing a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I was about
like
to say it's a
this,
major airline, yeah.
You know, and it was right before they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
And still one van at this point?
still at one band.
Okay.
But once we landed that contract, we had to get 2 more vans.
Wow.
Because of the amount of trips they were giving us per day,
Really?
which was about maybe 30 trips a day at that point. Right now we're doing over 100 a
Yeah.
day.
But at the time, you also needed, obviously, more hands to drive.
I did. So I hired my brother-in-law
Okay.
who helped me part-time. Well, he actually got the van under his name. So it was more like a franchise / self-contractor.
Okay.
And so he came on board, helped me out, and so we started building the team together.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then my wife Barbara, now at the time she was my girlfriend, but my
Yeah.
wife now, she was in it also and started helping me. At the time she was working for DMI.
And
Then-
I
but
met her
then-
before. She's on it with
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's on
definitely
it. She
on
helps
it.
me right now with the HR work and
Everything.
more administrative.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was basically us 3 doing the work, doing the trips, the pickups and all that. But at that point in time, 30 trips a day is not a lot. For large, limo companies, that's nothing.
Yeah, but when you only have 2 or 3 people,
But
I mean,
only, yes, exactly.
it's like
when you're by
everyone's stressed
yourself,
out.
that's a lot. So,
Yeah.
you definitely need more hands-on. So started off with 3, and then my ex-supervisor, who was at the Valet,
Okay.
he actually joined us.
Really?
Yeah, because he left the Valet.
So you hired your old boss.
I hired my own boss.
That's what I love to hear.
Who's still with me to this day. He's been with me for about 12 years.
Hold on. So let me just put this into perspective again. So the guy that encouraged you to start your own business and basically leave ends up leaving his role, and you end up hiring him to work for you.
What? It wasn't that manager. So
Oh, it's a different one. Okay,
so
okay.
he was the main manager.
I see.
Jeff was the main manager. He's the
Okay.
one that encouraged me.
This is like your direct supervisor.
This is, yes, my
Okay.
direct supervisor. His name is Bryant.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was above me at the Valet,
Mm-hmm.
and he left there and was seeking, work. So I gave him an opportunity, and he's still with me to this day. And
Still a cool story though.
yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, I hired my old boss,
I let all
gave him an opportunity.
yeah, definitely. I let all the drivers know that, kind of rub it in. No,
Yeah.
but he's great. He helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Without him, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So.
So now you're at, about 20 vehicles more or less?
We got about 20 vehicles.
And what all do you have? Because you have, was it limos, party bus?
Well, I started off with vans, right?
Okay.
Then, as I got more into it, I started seeing the limo side of the work. So I went and purchased a limo and started catering to prom, sweet 15s, bachelorette parties.
Quinceañeras or whatever.
And so started getting into that industry,
Okay.
the black car service. So shortly after that, we got several SUVs and sedans and started doing, black car service.
Yeah.
And now we also have a couple of buses. We have a 25 passenger party bus. We have a 16 passenger executive bus, which we do a lot of corporate work and, a lot of airport work with it. And then we have another 25 passenger bus that we do after school programs with.
That's cool.
So it kind of it was a domino effect.
Yeah.
Once American came, then United came, then Delta, then SkyWest.
So
and
right now
other
you
airlines.
You have contracts currently with
airlines, with
Well,
several airlines.
And are those your main bread and butter, we'll say?
Those
or?
are the main bulk of our
Okay.
work, but we still also do other. So we do weddings, quinceañeras,
more private.
bachelorette parties. We do river trips.
I see.
We do trips out to Lake Travis. We do corporate trips. We do trips to the casinos.
Oh, okay.
So we pretty much, it started off with just the van service,
Okay.
and then it just branched out. So it's kinda
Organically
like a tree.
transitioned into other.
Yeah, it started off as a small tree, and now it's growing branches, and it's going in different areas.
Well, let me ask you this though, because obviously in the past, 5, 6, 7 years, I mean, I don't even remember when Uber technically came out. I have to look back and really think. But how has Uber affected your business? And if it did, was it dramatically, or was it just a little ripple, or honestly speaking?
Uber
and Lyft is the other one.
Lyft have caused the taxi and limo industry close to $20 billion.
Per year,
Yes.
or since it's
Since its existence.
really?
Yes, that's how much they took away from the taxi and limo business.
That's crazy.
But of course, with all the things that have happened with,
the
not
negative
hiring, the negative stuff, because so we're highly regulated through the city of Austin.
I see.
We have to go through an FBI background check.
Okay.
Everyone has to get a chauffeur permit. So we are background checked and authorized to, in order to do the transportation. Yeah, in order to obtain a chauffeur permit, you need to be able to pass that background check.
Okay.
So
I know
and not only
Uber
that,
left,
your
right,
driving
and then
record.
came back or something like that.
Uber and Lyft left because they didn't want to
Comply.
with the city's demands,
Okay.
their regulations. So they took it to the state level, which the state, said, fine, that you guys can do it.
Oh, okay.
You just got to pay the
X
city
amount.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so, it all
Money
boils
talks,
down
as
to
always.
money.
Yeah,
exactly,
money talks, yeah.
Exactly. So they have somewhat affected us, but not totally, because our thing is more groups.
Okay.
And to this day, is we cater more to groups versus singles or,
A boyfriend, girlfriend coming to ACL.
Well, we still do that
Yeah.
if they request it. You
Okay.
know, if they request it, I'm not saying we're not going to deny them. We don't have a minimum or anything like that. But mainly what we cater to is groups. So we do
80% maybe of the business is groups?
It's 80%. It's more like 90%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you got the upper hand on.
We cater to corporate groups and also just, individuals going out for
the
Saturday
black car
night.
service you were mentioning too, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes, you'll have a group of 10 that want to go downtown, so you can't put them in a Suburban. You have to get a van or a nice
Honda
Sprinter
Accord.
van,
Honda Accord.
several Accords, but yeah.
Damn.
So they have somewhat affected the business, but not totally.
Yeah, yeah.
And now there's more companies coming out that can build you an app, and we have our own app being made.
That's
It's going to be called Citywide Express.
That's really cool. Will you be able to display that at the airports?
Yeah. Well, so the airport,
or on the counter of the Southwest or whatever.
Yeah, I could display it anywhere. Anywhere I want to market. I could do social media. I could do the airport. I could do the Austin Convention Center.
As long as they give you the go ahead to.
As long as you pay or whatever their fees are to market.
So out of this business, so now your numbers are great. You've obviously increased. You've got more revenue, more employees, more vehicles, and now you're also doing real estate investments.
Correct.
So I know you're a hustler type, or find a car, find a motorcycle, a boat.
Yes, sir.
I know you still got the hustler mentality, and it's about flipping also, but I see that you're doing real estate investments and also rental properties.
Yes, sir. We got 2 rental properties. Actually, we had 4, but we sold 2.
Okay.
And we have 2 right now. But because of the business, it has allowed me to take the time to start other businesses and other ventures. Real estate has always been intriguing to me.
Okay.
Even before I started the transportation business.
Yeah.
I actually took classes at ACC for real estate contracts.
Really?
Yeah, because I was pursuing my real estate license.
And this is 10 years ago at ACC or recently?
This was 10 years ago at ACC.
Okay.
But when I was in the business, and the more you research, the more you'll learn, the more you find out.
Of course.
So what I found out is I don't need a real estate license to sell real estate.
You just got to have the money.
You just got to have,
So regardless of where it comes from.
Skin in the game.
Yeah.
You just got to have the skin in the game, and you can sell real estate. Anyone in Texas can sell real estate as long as you're doing it the legal way, the proper way.
I see.
Going through the TREC contracts.
Okay.
Making sure that, as long as you know what you're doing.
So an agent, why are there real estate agents though? To look more official or?
Well, there's always going to be a need for real estate agents.
I see. Okay.
Because investors look for opportunities, but there's always people looking for a home.
True. That's okay. I see what you're saying.
So the real estate agents are more for the home. The people looking for a home.
They're more like the official compared to the unofficial.
Yeah.
Because if you're a mover and a shaker, and people,
it's kind of like a dealer. You're going to sell cars at wholesale, and then you're going to sell cars at retail.
True.
And basically, the investor in real estate is the wholesale, where you find an opportunity to buy and flip and possibly hold or sell the property.
I see what you're saying.
So that's more of the mentality I had. I didn't want to be a real estate agent and cater.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't want to cater to people, but I didn't want to, with the transportation business, it wouldn't allow me to go show you a house.
Okay.
So
now at this point, what or go ahead if you're gonna.
So I had more of the investor mentality.
Okay.
That's why I didn't pursue my real estate license, but I took the courses to get familiar with the contracts, the terms. Yes, all that is important, especially in real estate, because you can really screw something up and you can get sued. So that's why I was saying, we can't do without the real estate agents. They are very important. They play a role.
Okay. So now I'm kind of curious, because we have a few minutes and then we have to wrap it up. But so as of now, you've got properties, you've got vehicles, you've got employees. On paper, I'm sure the money's flowing, this and that. What's next for you? Is it just now turn it up a notch with the real estate, or do you see other things that you're like, oh, kind of
Well,
like this business going on over here?
So when I first got started, I was into fix and flips.
Okay.
But
Which would be homes, correct?
yes,
Okay.
that's correct. So, but that takes a lot of time, right?
Okay.
And it takes money out
Yeah.
of your pocket, because you have to fix the house, you have
Yeah.
to buy the house. So you're holding your money, right?
Your money's all tied up.
Well, it's tied up, yeah. Until you get that property sold, your money's tied up.
Okay.
So I've been looking for an easier way, or faster way, let's say, not easier, but faster way,
Okay.
which would be apartment leasing and just purchasing apartment buildings, because you get that income same day you buy it, especially if you already have tenants in place.
Oh, I see. So I see
So
what you're
you'll
saying.
make your ROI a lot faster versus buying and fixing.
And it could be
But both,
like a complex or
it could be a
condo
complex,
type
it could
of.
be duplexes, it could be it could be a townhome, with several rooms in there,
Okay.
like kind of like a duplex, or they got fourplexes also now.
Yeah. Maybe even like an Airbnb thing. Get it just
You
for
can
Airbnb.
also do Airbnb.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking to get into now. It's more into apartments,
Okay. Just
and then
go full force on that.
yes, and then so with the business, with the transportation business, we're still doing that, and we're looking to grow that more,
Yeah.
and especially the bus side of our business,
Okay.
because that we've been seeing increase in bus work. So we've been looking into
But it's
that,
like the passenger van you're talking.
like motor coach, like
Oh, the bigger
the
one.
big ones, 56 passenger motor coach, especially with Austin growing so fast.
Conventions going on
Everything
and all
going
type
on,
of.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but you definitely need to know what you're doing
Yeah.
and have the capital to be able to purchase those bad boys, because they're not cheap.
Because they're what, 100 grand, maybe, or
Yeah, brand new, over 100 grand,
really?
brand new.
Wow.
Brand new. But we also started our own mechanic shop.
Okay.
Since we do our own work on our vehicles,
Yeah, you got so many that are constantly in the streets.
we have the equipment and everything, so now we started doing mechanic work.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have mechanic work that's in the same location where our transportation service is.
So you have a full-time mechanic, or
Yes.
and so you also offer to outside individuals, or is it really just for you guys?
Both.
Really?
Yes.
So you're just one hell of a hustler.
Yeah, just,
Realistically.
I mean, there's 100 trillion ways to get it,
Yeah.
and you just got to put in the will and the effort,
And make it happen.
and it's not going to come easy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to take some sleepless nights. It's going to take
Many.
sleeping in your van. It's going to take sleeping in your van, or doing what you got to do in order to make it happen.
Yeah. So
Because that's the mentality I had going into it.
true.
Either I'm going to drown or I'm going to swim.
True.
So,
So
I mean, sink or swim.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So to wrap it up, because obviously you have the drive from, as you said, when you were younger, it's college this, and you saw the need for this, and it seems like one thing organically led to another. And it's kind of like what you're doing now is you made your money with one thing, but you're also scratching an itch with the real estate that you had from before, but luckily now you can finance it. And that's what I'm saying. You've got the funds to be able to put up the dough, get the money together, make it happen. So my question to wrap it up is this: what advice or any type of inspirational words or things that you can pass on to people watching, because you're South Austin, correct? Bowie High
Yes.
School. So basically a Bowie High School graduate, left Bowie High School, worked at the mall, I think it was, selling cars, doing all kinds of things, and now you're making some serious money. And it's just growing and growing and growing. What do you want to pass on to people to inspire them?
Well, the money and everything's great, but first I got to give the glory to God, because without Him, nothing would have been possible. He put the people in place
I see.
that helped me push to the next level.
Like the wake-up calls, we'll call it, or
Yes,
the
like Frank,
reality checks.
Jeff,
Okay.
my old manager, my old coworker. Without him, I wouldn't have met those guys. Without meeting those guys, I wouldn't have had the opportunity.
Yeah.
But I've always been in customer service, and even when I was selling cars or shoes, it was always about the people.
I see.
It was about the people. So you got to go into business, yes, for money, because everybody wants money.
Yeah, we have
But
feed the
what
family,
service?
get the home,
What
whatever.
service are you doing for the community? What
see.
service are you doing for the people around you? And that's the most pleasure I get out of these business opportunities, that I'm able to help people. I'm able to hire people,
Yeah.
you know, people that I've even done my own little counseling to people that are going through trouble,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, whether it's marriage trouble or, you know, I mean, but
It feels
the
good to be
businesses,
able
it feels
to
good
give back.
to give back, exactly.
Yeah.
So that my advice, you know, if you're going into business, go into it with an open heart and go in, of course, fully knowledgeable of your industry.
I see. Because you
Make
kind of
sure
like
you
just
know
learned
the
as
ins,
you
the
went.
outs, because I kind of just, you know, took it as I went, and you know, 12 years ago to now, I have learned so much compared to
Yeah.
back then. You know,
And now it's real estate learning. I mean, you're
yeah, now it's, you know, it's just the research and the growth continues.
yeah.
You know, you get more knowledgeable in one industry, and you know, you just want to do so many things to change, you know, to change things around you that you know, you just got to have the drive.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
You gotta want to do it.
Yeah, very true. And the last thing that I wanted to say was, I believe you had an office on, because the Hilton was it 2nd Street and 35?
It was, so it was on 5th and 35.
Okay, no, your office was on 5th and 35.
Correct.
For a while. If I'm not mistaken, you outgrew your office, and were you able to see the Hilton Hotel from your office, or not?
I was actually across the highway from the Hilton.
No, yeah,
at
but
that
were
point,
you able to see the hotel that you used to work at?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I was
crazy.
able to see it. But Capital Metro bought that area, and so that's why we had to move, because we didn't have no more parking space.
Man,
So,
that's the type of story I love to hear. Literally got the office across the high. And by the way, office on 5th and 35 is not cheap.
no.
Outgrew the space, and now you're in a much larger space, obviously, but to still be able to have a business located
In downtown Austin.
Yeah, and not just about downtown Austin, but literally right across the street almost
Right.
from your old employer that you used to work at for $3 an hour.
Exactly.
To me, that's like, it
Close
still
to-
blows my mind. But Joe, brother, I appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and
homie.
I wish you the best in your business ventures, and I'll be ready to see your building with all of your business offices inside of the building.
And look out for the billboards with the app.
There we go. They're coming.
All right.
They're coming. Thank you, Joe.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you.